Hello, Facebook. Welcome to our second installment of Dressed Down Musicians. Sorry we're starting a little late. We had some technical difficulties. Trying to do this on a laptop proved to not show the best audio quality. So we're doing a cell phone, which is actually proving to be much better quality on the other end. Let's get started. So tonight, our featured artist is going to be Blythe Reed, who is a fantastic singer who I have known for a little while now. And she's just fantastic, and I really think you're going to enjoy her tonight. And also this evening, we're going to be presenting to you 5 arias from the great opera master Puccini. And Blythe will give you a translation, synopsis of the scene, and the opera as a whole. Since we're only doing 5 arias, this concert may be a little shorter. Arias tend to be more of a workout for singers as opposed to art songs. So we're limiting to how much we can do since they take a lot more stamina for singers to do. So I asked Blythe to come in view of the camera. And she will introduce herself.
Hi everybody, I'm Blythe. I want to thank you guys so much for watching live today. So we're going to start with Bohème. So Bohème takes place in Paris circa 1930. So the story of it is that you have these 4 guys who are really, really close friends. They don't have that much money. The opera starts with them goofing around with their landlord, and then Mimi comes in and charms Rodolfo, and they have this wonderful duet. And then you have this wonderful Christmas Eve scene where everybody is having dinner together and causing a bit of a ruckus. Musetta comes in, and there's some really, really beautiful music. And then Mimi gets sick, and Rodolfo doesn't really take it too well. And so they have a separation, they have a big fight, and she's looking for him, he's run off, and then she confronts his BFF, Marcello, and she's like, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And so they reunite once more, and then they separate, and it's the 4th act, and all the friends are reunited once again, and Mimi comes in, and she's about to die, and it's really sad. But highly recommend the opera. The musical Rent is based off of La Bohème, so if you've ever seen Rent, it's similar storyline to that. So the first aria we'll be doing both arias. The first one is Mi chiamano Mimi, in which Mimi comes up to the loft, and she knows that Rodolfo is alone, so she knocks, and he lets her in, and she faints, and then he takes her cold hand, sings an aria to her about how much of a poet he is and an artist, and then she's a little bit nervous, but she starts to talk about herself and thinks she loves and all that good stuff. So I'm going to read you the poetic translation so you know what I'm singing about. Okay. Yes, they call me Mimi, but my name is Lucia. My story is brief, on linen or on silk. I do embroidery at home and outside. I am quiet and cheerful, and my hobby is making lilies and roses. Those things give me pleasure, which have so much sweet charm, which speak of love, of springtimes, which speak of dreams and of fantasies, those things which are called poetry. Do you understand me? They call me Mimi. Why? I don't know. Alone, I make meals at home by myself. I do not always go to Mass, but I pray a great deal to the Lord. I live alone, all alone. There, in a clean little room, I look out on the rooftops and the sky, but when the spring thaw comes, the early sun is mine. The first kiss of April is mine. A rose blooms in a vase, petal by petal I watch over it. How delicate the scent of a flower. But the flowers that I make, alas, do not have fragrance. I would not know how to tell you anything else about me. I am your neighbor who comes unexpectedly to interrupt you.
I would also like to add, Blythe actually performed the role of Mimi in Florida State's opera production last year?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So she is very familiar with the role and sings them quite beautifully, so enjoy.
Last
you. That was Mi chiamano Mimi. Next, we will be doing Mimi's other aria, Donde lieta usci. And Blythe, could you tell us a little more about that?
All right, so in the third act, Mimi goes to find Rodolfo because he has run off after they've had an argument. And she wants to talk to him. She wants to see what's going on. She overhears Marcello and Rodolfo talking about her. And she realizes that she's dying. And she's faced with the task of breaking up with him because, she doesn't want to keep things going. She wants him to live his life, but she loves him, so she decides to give him a little talk. And so this is the poetic translation for it. From the place she left, happy at your declaration of love, Mimi returns alone to her solitary nest. She goes back once again to make unreal flowers. Farewell without remorse. Wait, listen. Gather together the few things that I have left scattered around. Shut in my drawer are that gold ring and the prayer book. Wrap them all up in a smock, and I will send the porter. Careful. Under the pillow there is the pink bonnet. If you wish, keep it in remembrance of love. Farewell without remorse. Do
So those were two selections from Puccini's La Bohème. And as you'll see as we progress, we're going to do things in chronological order. So the next opera we will be doing is Gianni Schicchi, and the aria from that is O mio bambino caro. Before Blythe gives you information on that, I will note this is an aria that you hear many times in popular music, even advertisements for products on television. So this is one that you will probably know, those of you who are versed well in the opera, literature, opera world. And even those of you who are not, you may recognize this instantaneously. For those of you who know the show America's Got Talent, this is an aria that is done frequently by many singers. And Blythe and I will sit and watch these singers, and she'll comment on how...
the technique.
Yeah, the technique is just, it's somewhat lacking because they're very young singers. And sometimes not always young, but just the training and how they proceed in learning this aria is not, I guess, what I would say is normal or appropriate for the style, to put that in words. But yes, this is a really well-known aria, very beautiful. And yeah, Blythe, you want to give us some info?
Okay, so Gianni Schicchi is usually performed on a double bill because it's only an hour long. So usually it'll be with Suor Angelica or Pagliacci or Carmina Burana. Usually it's performed that way. So the libretto was by Gioacchino Forzano. It's based off an episode of Dante's Inferno. Puccini composed this between 1917 and 1918, and it premiered at the Met in April of 1918. So basically, it's based in 13th century Florence. This guy, Buoso Donati, had a ton of money. His family is surrounding him. He dies. His family pretends that they are fainting over him and they're sad that he's died. And they find out through his will that he's left everything to the church. So the son, Rinuccio, suggests that they get Gianni Schicchi to come over and help them finagle a way to get Buoso Donati's money inherited to them. So Gianni Schicchi is super sneaky. He has a daughter named Loretta, and Rinuccio and Lauretta are in love, and that's when this aria comes into place. Long story short, Gianni Schicchi basically fools a notary into thinking that he is the dead Buoso Donati, and he convinces the notary to distribute all of the things to the family, but then he places the majority of the fortune given to Gianni Schicchi himself. And it's basically a lesson. The family still gets what they want, but it's basically a lesson on money and pride and all that good stuff. So Loretta is begging her father, Gianni Schicchi, to let her marry Rinuccio. And so basically she does this very big, overdone, overzealous aria to convince him to let them marry. And she succeeds in getting him, Gianni Schicchi, to help Rinuccio's family in distributing the money and everything. So it's supposed to be a comedy. So this is supposed to be funny, but Puccini writes it so gorgeously that a lot of the times people think it's this like sweet love song. So here it is.
Translation.
Oh, you want the translation? Sorry. My B.
Sorry.
Where are you at? Of course, it's in the back. Here we go. Okay. Oh, my dear daddy, he pleases me. He is handsome. I want to go to Porta Rossa to buy the ring. Yes, I want to go there. And if I should love him in vain, I would go to the Ponte Vecchio, but in order to throw myself into the Arno. I am feeling tortured and tormented. Oh God, I should like to die. Daddy, have pity.
Thank you. That was from Gianni Schicchi. So our last opera we're going to present to you was actually Puccini's final opera. It was actually unfinished, but later finished by another Italian composer. It's Turandot. It's a powerful, powerful, dramatic piece. Just so much character. It's just, I have no words for Turandot, but just, it's so much. That's all I will say. Life can give you more details on that. But the first aria we're going to do is Signore Ascolta. And Blythe, will you give us more information on opera and the aria and the translation?
Okay, so Turandot was finished really composing by 1926. Essentially, Puccini composed it first, and he died before it was finished. So the composer that helped with that was Franco Alfano, which was the year between 1925 and 1926. This takes place in ancient, legendary Peking. Essentially, Turandot has a rule that in order for her to get married, the prince has to answer 3 riddles. If he does not answer them correctly, off with his head, killed. And that's a lot of princes to die, so you imagine that is very scary. Anyway, so Calaf, who is a prince, is going into exile. His father is King Timur, And Liu is his servant girl. Basically, she takes care of King Timur. They are running away, and they come into Peking, and Kalaf sees Turandot in the distance, and he's so taken by her beauty that he decides to take a chance and solve the riddles and everything. So then he does all the riddles, he passes everything, and, you know, he's like out in the nighttime air, and he's like, if you can guess my first name, then you can have my life. And so she is like on a mad hunt to find out this dude's his first name. And Kalaf is like out in the night, and this is when you hear Nesun Dorma, which is like one of the most popular tenor arias ever. And then, oh, by the way, Ping Pang and Pong are these amazing comedic characters that bring joy to the opera and are the comedic relief. And so then Turandot finds them. She finds Kalaf, and her army and everybody finds Liu and King Timur, and basically Liu dies in order to prevent them from knowing Kalaf's name. And then they leave, and Kalaf and Turandot fall in love, and at the end, you know, she says, oh, his name is Love instead of Kalaf, which saves his life, and then they live happily ever after, supposedly, right? So the first aria is Signore Ascolta, and Liu is singing this to Kalaf. She sees him smile, and she immediately falls in love with him, and she is basically asking, she's like, have pity on me, I fell in love with you, and I can't help it, and all that good stuff. So that's the first aria. So I'm going to read the translation for that now. Okay. My lord, listen. Ah, my lord, listen. Liu will bear no more. Her heart is breaking. Alas, what a long road I've traveled with your name in my soul, with your name on my lips. But if your fate will be decided tomorrow, we will die on the path of exile. He will lose his son, I the trace of a smile. Liu will bear no more, ah, have pity. Sorry.
il Signore ascolta. Now, last aria of the night, Blythe, do you want to tell us more?
Yes. Let me get my larynx back down in my throat. Haha. Okay. So, tu che diger sei cinta is when Turandot comes and finds Calaf and King Timur and Yu, and she pressures them, army pressures them to give her his name, right? And so Liu is like, I'm so scared, I'm gonna say something. And so she says no, like she has this amazing courage. And she tells Turandot that eventually she will love him too. And then she kills herself. And she's carried out by Timur and all the people. And sure enough, her killing herself invigorated love from Turandot for Calaf. So, yeah, that's what happens. That's the gist of it. Yes, the translation. Here we go. You, who with ice are girded, conquered by so much burning passion, you will love him, you too. Before this dawn, I, weary, will close my eyes, so that he may be victorious again. He may be victorious again, so as never to see him again.
Thank you. That was the aria from Turandot, Tu che di gel sei città. So again, I want to thank all of you who tuned in and all of you who will tune in later. I will say the first concert, the solo concert that's on my page, for those of you who may not have seen it, who are newcomers to this concert series, that video reached almost over 600 people, which I was really just astounded at and just very pleased with how many viewers actually watched. So that's really great. And if you feel so led to share this on your own wall, please do. I think you have to, it takes a few minutes for it to post to my page once we're finished here. So if you feel so led, post it to your page, and it may reach someone who may not be exposed to this great art form that so many of us have the privilege to experience and do. It's really great music. And Blythe will actually be a regular, obviously. She'll be back in the fall. She'll be doing some songs by a great composer songs who I started working with from a dear friend of mine, which are not opera, but more musical theater. But Blythe is more so classically trained in opera. So give just her a chance to show that she can do all genres and that singers shouldn't be situated into one style. Just as pianists shouldn't be situated in one style. We should be versed in all styles, if possible. I would also like to thank my professor, Dr. Timothy Hookman, for coaching us through some of these arias. He was very helpful and very patient with us, but we thank him dearly, very much. And I guess the last thing I should have to say is tune in next month. A dear colleague and friend of mine, we will be doing Russian art songs. She sings them very beautifully, and she's a fantastic singer. Hopefully we can work that together as we live in separate places. But again, that'll be on my page next month, at the end of the month. And in the description, there should be some links to various websites if you feel so led to donate. As you know, as I said last time, musicians are taking a really huge hit right now due to this pandemic that's affecting the world. And any proceeds I get from any viewers, I split with my colleague, whoever I'm working with. So whatever monies that we get tonight, I will split with Blythe and myself. And if it's ever a solo concert, it'll just go to me to help me out during these times. But for future performances, I'll always have something posted, and you can also message me directly for any information. So yes, once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and please join us next week for some really next month, for some really fantastic music. Stay safe. We'll get through this. These are really tough times right now. Blythe and I really are stuck in our home, and we're trying not to kill each other. But we're really getting through this. It's really tough, but I really hope this will end soon, and we can all once again be together in one room and enjoy music in person. So please have a good night, and please join us next month, and we'll see you later.
Thank you for watching.